And the thing about Michelle Obama is she's always negative. Everything she says has got a negative spin on it. She's negative about the country. She's negative about her time as first lady. She's very negative about her husband. I fully believe that they have a bad marriage. She did not marry the right person. It's not a good match. She almost never says anything nice about him. That too, she's now trying to defend as somehow, I don't know, this is like a racial attack when people say this. You tell me if you can figure it.
Guess who's in the hot seat after Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly team up for the ultimate takedown? Yes, Michelle Obama. What was it that made everyone talk? Was it a roast, a revelation, or just plain chaos? Stay tuned because this explosive showdown is more unexpected than your morning coffee. And I promise you won't want to miss how it all unfolded.
Rogan is calling out Oprah and Michelle Obama for hypocritical speeches at the DNC. Watch.
She's up there talking about income inequality. Like, hey, lady.
I know.
You're rich as like, how is that equal? And also, when Michelle Obama was saying, I think she was saying her mother or grandmother was always suspicious of people who took more than they needed.
Yes.
Like, you are worth so much money.
Take more than they need. The Obamas have 4 mansions.
I mean, it's a bunch of rich people talking about
If you have ever wondered what happens when a former news anchor who perfected the art of the arrogant eyebrow raise teams up with a legendary podcaster who could outsmart a caffeine-eating squirrel, you're about to learn that this dynamic duo went on a full throttle. No-holds-barred dismantling of one of America's most polished and protected public figures, Michelle Obama.
Obama, still trying to make her struggling podcast a thing, went on a 4.5-minute tear about herself and how hard it is to be Michelle Obama. We're going to go through quite a bit of it. Here's the first one about how difficult it is for Black women like Michelle to articulate their pain.
We grew up with women who weren't voicing the pain, and the burden. They made it look easy.
Now, get ready for a well-planned attack on Michelle Obama's carefully manicured image. The woman who became both an icon and a lightning rod while making gym attire, and Kale seem politically significant from 2 very different perspectives. This wasn't just a friendly argument at a book club or a friendly spar over gardening advice.
Joan Rivers said that Michelle Obama was a man before she died. When
was that a joke? I thought it was a joke.
I thought it was a joke too, but the way she said it wasn't like jokey. She was like, oh, come on, everybody knows Michelle Obama's a man. Like, remember that?
Yeah, like, would Big Mike kill you for that?
Well, I think she died because she had 1,000 plastic surgeries. But
yeah, she was going under.
Yeah.
She just sees these big black arms coming over her face. Big Mike.
Bro.
Oh, no.
The cultural setup comes first. For longer than most reality TV shows, Michelle Obama has been riding a tide of goodwill as the clever, confident, and incredibly beautiful First Lady who somehow transformed a White House appearance into a company that could sell anything from sneakers to political hope. She has been hailed as the epitome of poise under pressure.
Michelle Obama, listen to this.
And at this phase of my life, I'm in therapy right now because I'm transitioning. I'm 60 years old. I've finished a really hard thing in my life with my family intact. I'm an empty nester. My girls are in, they've been launched. And now for the first time, as I've said before, every choice that I'm making is completely mine. I now don't have the excuse of, well, my kids need this or my husband needs that or the country needs that. So how do I think about this next phase?
Once again, speaking a reference to her time as First Lady negatively, and I'm transitioning. I mean, an interesting choice of words given how the internet refers to her.
But here's the thing. When someone reaches that untouchable, airbrushed on a cloud level of fame, they stop being a person and start being a symbol. And symbols, they make great targets. Not just any targets either. Think bullseye, dipped in glitter, sealed with a bow, and stamped property of the public's expectations. So it only took a Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly 1-2 punch to shatter the sheen. Rogan, the podcast. Warlord with a brain wired like a conspiracy corkboard didn't tiptoe. He cannonballed straight in. He's less interviewer, more chaos theorist with a mic, flinging opinions like dog park frisbees. To him, Michelle wasn't a former first lady. She was an equation that didn't quite add up. Then came Megyn, Polished, icy, surgical. If Joe's the bar brawler, she's the sniper. With a smile that cuts glass, she dismantled Michelle's image with clinical precision. No yelling, no wild takes, just a journalist with a vendetta and a scalpel. And together, it was brutal ballet. A pirouette straight into a punch. They didn't just question Michelle Obama, they dragged the entire celebrity activism complex into the spotlight and stripped it bare. The critique wasn't loud, it was lethal, and it landed.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
That's pretty funny how she said it.
Okay, we all know it. So what year was that, Jamie, that she said that?
I have no idea.
Well, let's see if we can find that.
Okay.
Well, how soon before she died did she say it?
Well, I don't.
And Boeing is a terrible airline. It's a terrible company.
Joe Rogan's critique played out like a late-night campfire monologue. Equal parts conspiracy theorist, stand-up comic, and guy who's one alien documentary away from buying a bunker. He didn't just question Michelle Obama, he unraveled her thread by polished thread. Rogan zeroed in on the contradictions embedded in her public persona, pointing out how the glossy speeches and talk show circuits sometimes clashed with the less glamorous realities on the ground. Imagine him peeling back the layers of Michelle's brand like an onion, but instead of tears, each layer left you wondering if you ever liked onions to begin with. His argument? That Michelle's activism, wrapped in polish and served up with late-night charm, might be less about dismantling systems and more about preserving the status quo. She's not flipping the chessboard, she's mastering it. Every move is strategic, every message curated, but is the game itself changing? Megyn Kelly, meanwhile, brought a colder precision to the same battlefield. No jokes, just scalpel-sharp skepticism. She didn't just question Michelle's message, she dissected the machinery behind it. Her claim? That Michelle's image has been media sculpted to perfection, engineered to inspire without ever inciting. To Megyn, this wasn't revolution, it was PR in high heels. A performance crafted for maximum appeal and minimum disruption. The brilliance was in the control. And that, to her, was the illusion worth breaking.
To Michelle Obama, every day she's dropped another negativity bomb on us, whether on her podcast or on someone else's. I mean, this audience knows she never says anything positive. It is all complaints. So she goes on another podcast. She's promoting her show, so she's making the rounds. The Diary of a CEO podcast, and actually found a way to bitch and moan about how hard it is to live in the White House.
The beauty of this tag team takedown was in the contrast. Joe Rogan brought the broad, skeptical brushstrokes, loud, brash, and impossible to ignore, while Megyn Kelly came in with surgical precision, all scalpel and smirk. It was a 1-2. Punch in a match where the crowd didn't even realize a knockout was coming until the ref was waving it off. What made it particularly juicy? Neither of them bothered with pleasantries. Rogan, ever the irreverent provocateur, tossed out observations that made you nod, wince, and laugh, sometimes all at once. He played the role of the guy yelling that the emperor has no clothes. Only this emperor is one of the most revered public figures of our time. Megyn, by contrast, came at it with the cool detachment of a forensic analyst. Her critique didn't roar, it sliced. Peeling back Michelle's image like old wallpaper, she revealed something still solid, still standing, but undeniably less glamorous than the curated veneer we've been sold. Together, their critiques didn't just question Michelle. They interrogated the whole machine, the intersection of fame, politics, and carefully packaged activism. Are figures like Michelle unfairly idealized, or are they complicit in crafting illusions that dodge real disruption? This wasn't just commentary, it was an autopsy of the modern political celebrity.
Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we went to the moon. I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica.
And the public reaction? Oh, it was messy. Think red wine on a white carpet kind of messy. Social media lit up like a bonfire at a gossip festival. Debates flaring, memes multiplying, and takedown threads popping off like popcorn. Fans who once saw Michelle Obama as the gold standard of public grace, suddenly had to grapple with a version of her that wasn't quite so airbrushed. Meanwhile, critics pounced, gleeful at the chance to flip the script and stir the pot. So, let's crank this thing up and dive straight into the juicy core. The moment Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly started peeling back the layers of Michelle Obama's image. Imagine unwrapping a designer onion, shiny, polished, filtered to perfection. But the deeper you go, the more it stings. And no, you're not crying from emotion, you're crying from the sheer shock of what's been hiding under all that PR gloss. Michelle Obama's public persona wasn't just crafted, it was engineered. With NASA-level precision. A brand so airtight, so impeccably polished, it's been nearly untouchable for years. The media coverage, practically a fairy tale. Brilliant, athletic, compassionate, always smiling, never sweating. That smile, it's not just charming, it's strategic. The kind of smile that diffuses controversy before it even dares to speak.
She went on a podcast called Diary of a CEO. It's kind of rings a bell like a founder kind of situation. And once again, wants you to know how awful it is to be married with children.
There are just many natural reasons why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like I try to tell couples, of course it's hard. Just listen to what I say.
But Rogan and Kelly, they weren't buying the fairy tale. Nope. They came at it like a pair of detectives in a Netflix true crime docuseries, hunting for plot holes, digging through the details, and side-eyeing every polished press moment like it was Exhibit A. Joe Rogan, armed with his signature brand of blunt curiosity and an allergy to anything that reeks of scripted PR, started poking holes in the carefully curated narrative. He zeroed in on the shiny surface of Michelle's activism, those sleek, media-ready campaigns about healthy eating and education. Sure, they sounded great in speeches and made for inspirational montages, but Rogan asked the inconvenient question: did they actually change anything, or were they just viral hashtags dressed up as reform? Enter Megyn Kelly, surgical as ever, slicing through the PR veneer with the precision of someone who knows exactly how the media machine works, because she's been inside it. She pointed out how Michelle's messaging, while inspiring always, seemed calibrated to maintain broad appeal. Nothing too divisive, nothing too radical. It's activism that sells, but does it shake the system? Take the famous Let's Move campaign. On paper, it's a win, tackling childhood obesity with a clear plan and endless media buzz. But peel it back. What did it actually disrupt? Gym class got a glow up, Kale had a PR moment, and that's great. But did it challenge the food, industry, address the systemic roots of health inequality? That's where the shine starts to crack and the illusion begins to fade.
Little people with their own sense of everything, they mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? I mean, there's something wrong with this person. Like, she's seriously depressed. She has the most negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public figure. Certainly one who's been given so much. Okay, her window into motherhood and having a child, the first thing she says, they mess you up. They mess you up. Maybe that's what happened to her. Maybe she was totally delightful before the two daughters came along. I don't know. She clearly is not enjoying motherhood and enjoying being in a marriage. Even less. It's not you if things get hard. It's all hard. It's all hard. This is so...
Similarly, Michelle Obama's work in education reform often felt like a carefully choreographed dance. Elegant, uplifting, but always skirting the truly thorny issues like deep-rooted funding disparities or the mess of standardized testing. The messaging, always positive, always polished. But rarely did it wade into the gritty, uncomfortable realities that keep those systems broken. What Rogan and Kelly ultimately exposed was a broader dilemma: the impossible standards we place on public figures, especially those navigating the blurry terrain of celebrity activism. We expect icons to be flawless and revolutionary, yet when they operate within massive political and media machines, real disruption gets lost in the fine print. Their critique taps into a larger conversation around modern activism. When celebrities champion causes, is it meaningful progress or carefully curated performance? Is the goal change or just brand maintenance? Rogan's unfiltered skepticism and Kelly's clinical dissection both shine a harsh light on this tension, exposing just how thin the line is between inspiring impact and managing public perception.
More fuel on the fire that there's a potential, maybe a divorce or some sort of rockiness going on in the Obamas' relationship. They both posted these mirrored, very choreographed Valentine's Day messages on X, but he was just seen at an LA, the basketball team, the Clippers, thank you, game without her. And then on Tuesday, he was spotted eating out at a fancy dinner in Sherman Oaks with both daughters, Malia and Sasha, but again, no Michelle, according to TMZ. So
I think they seem to be soft launching their divorce.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, the ripple effect. Once Rogan and Kelly dropped their bombshell critique, the media and public response was nothing short of explosive. Social media lit up like a Christmas tree wired with C4. Chaotic, loud, and impossible to ignore. Fans who once regarded Michelle Obama as an almost mythic figure were suddenly faced with a new lens, one that didn't sparkle so easily. Some leapt to her defense, others paused to reconsider, and many were just flat out stunned. The internet, as always, became the battlefield. Memes spread like wildfire. Some fiercely defending her legacy, others gleefully poking holes in the goth's polished, perfect First Lady persona, calling it more House of Cards than role model. The usual chorus of political pundits, cultural critics, and online warriors piled in, turning the conversation into a swirling storm of hot takes and hard questions. But beneath the noise, something deeper was shifting. This wasn't just a hit job, it signaled a cultural turn. We're moving out of the era where media and political icons can skate by on charisma, curated messaging, and empty platitudes. The public's appetite has changed. There's a growing demand, not just for good optics, but for authenticity, transparency, and real impact. Rogan and Kelly, each from wildly different ends of the media spectrum, delivered a loud and clear message. No one is above scrutiny anymore. And for once, even the untouchable had to feel what everyday people live with. Constant public judgment, minus the protective glow.
Knowing that there are divorce rumors and, she's not showing up for him, whether it's at the Jimmy Carter funeral or the Trump inauguration or the basketball game he just went to in LA, when visiting their daughters and then dinner with the daughters was not there. Here she is talking about it. If it were me, I would say something nice about him. I would say he's just so charming. It was meant to be. I knew he could heal the earth in the way he did. There was only one person who could do it, and it was my husband, Barack Obama, whatever. Then she gets on to talking a little bit about him personally, and this.
Looking ahead, the impact of this moment could be seismic. Rogan and Kelly didn't just chip away at Michelle Obama's public image, they cracked open the entire cultural narrative surrounding political celebrity. Their takedown forced a collective pause and asked a provocative question. Are we finally ready to rethink how we view our icons? Can the era of seamless, flawless celebrity activism survive in a world where audiences now crave something raw, something real, something messier? Will the media rise to this demand for accountability, or retreat to the safe comfort of well-lit photo ops and pre-approved talking points? Will public figures evolve with the times, or cling tighter to their polished personas like life rafts in a rising tide of skepticism? One thing's certain, this story isn't over. As media ecosystems shift and audiences grow savvier, the way we engage with fame and influence is undergoing a transformation, and Rogan and Kelly didn't just accelerate that shift, they handed us front row seats. With gasps, laughs, and more than a few eye rolls, they pulled back the curtain on a well-maintained illusion. But here's the real twist. Michelle Obama didn't respond. No press release, no Instagram caption, no clever comeback on a talk show. Silence. The same woman who once captivated millions with a single speech simply stepped back, letting the criticism hang in the air unchallenged. And that silence, it spoke volumes. In a world where every comment sparks a counter-comment, Michelle's refusal to engage created a vacuum, and the public rushed to fill it. The lack of a rebuttal didn't neutralize the critiques, it amplified them. Suddenly, the untouchable looked touched, and the audience watched, fascinated, as the fallout unfolded. But beyond the drama, this moment marked something bigger, a cultural pivot, a reframing of how we perceive and interact with public figures, especially those wrapped in the comforting glow of activism. Are we witnessing the decline of celebrity saviors? Are people beginning to see these polished personas for what they often are, carefully managed brands built to inspire just enough without ever truly challenging the status quo? In the end, Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly didn't just challenge Michelle Obama's image, they shattered the mirror reflecting an entire system, one built on curated perfection and media immunity. Their styles couldn't be more different. Joe's raw, irreverent skepticism and Megyn's clinical, calculated critique. But together, they created a perfect cultural storm. It was messy, it was brutal, and it was absolutely riveting. Because in today's media landscape, one truth is now undeniable. No one, not even the icons, is untouchable.